Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our online service for the Unitarian Church of Staten Island. I am the Reverend Emily D. Tarbert, pronouns she, her, hers, and I'm speaking live from our beautiful sanctuary at the corner of Fillmore and Clinton Avenue. Grateful to be with all of you this morning. As we are on Zoom, we ask that you mute whenever possible, though please, of course, introduce yourself in the chat and say hello to each other in the chat box this morning. We will be sharing our joys and sorrows later in the service in the chat box. If you have trouble finding the chat box or typing in it, you can also text the number 347-709-4820 for joys and sorrows you hope to share in service today. Welcome. Welcome from the comfort of your homes, from wherever you are and however you are feeling. Wherever you are seeing this from, however you got into this virtual space, I want to welcome you to this sanctuary. I begin our service today with the words from Octavia Butler, from her novel, The Parable of the Sower. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Let us together this morning prepare our hearts for transformation and change.
Good morning again. We light this chalice in the search for truth and the spirit of love. We unite in worship and fellowship. As an extension of lighting our chalice, I want to take a moment of silence to light these candles for some of the names of those who have recently been affected by police brutality. We cannot cover all the names of those affected. We light a candle for the life of George D. Watson. We light a candle for the life of Antoine Gilmore. We light a candle for the life of Robert Anderson. May these lights be a symbol of our commitment to continue the work of racial justice and to proclaim emphatically, Black Lives Matter.
We invite you now to join with us from home, though keep yourself muted, in singing our opening hymn, No Longer Forward or Behind, hymn number 9 in our book, Singing the Living Tradition. Our tech host, Mike, will post the lyrics in the chat, and Kevin will lead us in our hymn singing this morning.
No longer forward nor behind, I look in hope or fear, but grateful take the good I find, the best of now and here. I break my pilgrim staff, I lay aside the tolling oar. Who angels sought so far away, I welcome at my door. For all the jarring notes of life seem blending in a song, and all the angels of its stride show rounding into calm. And so the shadows fall apart, and so the west winds play, and all the windows of my heart open through the day.
Now is the time in our service when we invite you to type into the chat your joys and sorrows. Emily will read them aloud, and I will drop a blue pebble in this bowl to signify the ways you help add to our community by sharing what is on your heart. If you're visiting for the first time, you can introduce yourself in the chat if you want to, and tell us a little bit about yourself. If you're not able to type in the chat box, please text 347-709-4820 to share your joys and sorrows.
Tom shares with us, so happy for this cool, bright, and sunny day. Indeed, Tom, it is a beautiful day. Beautiful day. From Bonnie, joys of a beautiful day and new friendships created at the Unitarian Church of Staten Island. Indeed, it is a joy to create friendships and community here, no matter how we gather. A remark from Jennifer Hyman: Ruth Benson is grand. Indeed, she is one of the many members of our community that continues to bless us with her time, with her service, with so many other things, just like so many. We are grateful for the members of this community. From Carolyn, thank you for chatting me, Carolyn. We lost a Viva Voice Choir member this week, Nancy Cole. I am so sorry to hear of the passing of Nancy Cole. We reflect on her with our memory, knowing that her life lives on in the memory we live in her legacy of love. For Maureen Curran, many joys lately. Our daughter Katie participated in a mini triathlon. That's incredible. Also, we have been blessed by having many new neighbors from far off lands. They are amazingly loving and kind. Gratitude for triathlons and neighbors, indeed. From Virginia Allen, so happy to be home from the hospital. We are so happy that you are home from the hospital, that you are well and healing and rested. May that continue, Virginia. Are there any other joys or sorrows that wish to be shared this morning? Well, with that, I invite us to enter into a time of meditation and reflection this morning. O Spirit of life, the seasons are changing yet again. Here we come to gather with each other in changed and adaptive ways, to be a community that shares its joys and sorrows. We are grateful for having a community to share with. We are grateful for the many blessings of this community, things from triathlons to new friendships, to neighbors in far-off lands, to the beauty of the day, and to being home safe and healthy. We also reflect on the sorrows that have been shared, those who continue to be in needing of healing, those who have passed from us, like Nancy Cole, understanding that her legacy of love continues whenever we remember her name. And sorrows like the world events around us, from the immigrants from Haiti and Texas to the ongoing effects of leaving our interactions with Afghanistan. There's so much in the world. We are grateful to have a space to share what happens in our world, in our lives, with each other. For all of this and for so much more, we say thank you, let's keep going, and amen. Now I invite you to sing again with us with our second hymn of the morning, Sweet Fields of Autumn. This is hymn number 52 in Singing the Living Tradition. Again, Kevin will lead the song and Mike will post the lyrics in the chat for you to sing along from home. Please stay muted as you sing.
Sweet fields of autumn, the gold grain is falling, the white clouds drift lonely, the wild swan is calling. Alas for the daisies, the tall fern and grasses, wind sweep and rainfall, lowlands and passes. The snows of December shall fill windy hollow, the bleak rain clouds alter, and March wind shall follow. The deer through the valleys leave print of their going, and diamonds of sweet bark the ridges of strowing. The stillness of death shall stoop over the water, the plover sweet blow where the pale streamlets falter. But deep in the earth plot the black seed is living, where spring sounds her bugles for rousing and giving.
A reading from the chapter Intentional Adaptation from Emergent Strategy, Shaping Change, Changing Worlds by Adrienne Marie Brown. How we live and grow and stay purposeful in the face of constant change actually does determine both the quality of our lives and the impact that we can have when we move into action together. Many of us respond to change with fear or see it as a crisis. Some of us anticipate change with an almost titillating sense of stress. We spend precious time thinking about what has changed that we didn't choose or can't control, and or thinking ahead to future stress. Often this is because we aren't clear or committed about our dream destination. So instead of moving towards anything in particular, we are in nonstop reaction. The first question to ask ourselves is, how do we practice increasing our ease with what is? Change happens. Change is definitely going to happen, no matter what we plan or expect or hope for or set in place. We will adapt to that change, or we will become irrelevant.
Thank you, Sarah Dolinar. And thank you, Mike and Kevin and Carolyn, who are helping us with our service today. Thank you. We find ourselves in a time of transition. And I don't mean that just metaphorically. This Sunday rests between last Thursday's Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur and this Wednesday's fall equinox, or the Wiccan holiday of Moban. Both holidays are very, very different, and yet both are part of marking the turning and changing of the year. And these holidays teach us a lot about change. This sermon has been hard for me to write because for as much as I love to believe that I'm flexible, go with the flow, adaptable, I've never really been good with change. I don't like it. I'm often stubborn. I dislike things that are unclear or uncertain, and I want to feel in control and independent. Change is not something I deal with very well, but it is inevitable. And after a year of consistent changes, I feel like I could use more skills and lessons on how to embody and welcome change into my life. So I turn to the wisdom of these different faith traditions and the different holidays of this season to learn ways to better welcome and prepare for change. Yom Kippur is the highest holiday of the Jewish faith. 10 days after Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and at the end of the days of awe. Yom Kippur is an annual time of atonement for deeds done in the past year, asking forgiveness from God and from others. In these high holy days, Jewish people of faith around the world reflect on the last year and on the year to come. In the Jewish faith, harm done against other people cannot be forgiven by God. These actions must be in the reconciliation and forgiveness found between people. Only promises and actions taken against God can be forgiven by God. So often in the days leading up to Yom Kippur, Jewish people will reach out to family and friends and apologize, reconcile with past actions, ask for forgiveness, become accountable. Other actions such as giving to charity, fasting, or additional prayers are also encouraged in this time. Yom Kippur invites those who are Jewish to slow down, to pause, to reconcile the past, to live into compassion and to forgive one another. This is a wonderful gift to prepare people for change. Born from our fears and our regrets, often our past actions and attitudes make us feel stuck. Guilt and shame can hold us to what is, or be fearful of what might happen, instead of welcome what is to come. In times of transition, when our lives are changing around us, it is important to take the time to confront our regrets, to own our past harm and forgive ourselves and each other. By doing this, we open up room in our hearts, we clear our minds, we often receive closure, and provide room for all that is to come. Mabon, or the celebration of the fall equinox for those who are Wiccan and pagan, is a very, very different holiday from a completely different faith tradition. Yet it also brings us lessons for change. I want to say that there are many different holidays across the world for the fall equinox, across indigenous cultures and religions, not all of which I can name or know of. Wiccan traditions often focus on the pagan traditions based in Ireland, Scotland, or Britain. For those who practice the Wiccan faith, The fall equinox is one of the series of harvest festivals, which mark the turning of the wheel of the year. For this holiday, there's a sense of balance, since on the fall equinox, there is equal time in day and night. There's also feasting and celebration, a great amount of thanksgiving by collecting the harvest. The cornucopia is a symbol for this holiday. For those who practice Wicca, the fall equinox invites people to count the many blessings of life around them. It is a time of harvest, to take stock of all that life has given, a joyous time of thanksgiving as one prepares for the coming fall and winter. These are also wonderful strategies for preparing for change. Often in times of change and transition, there's a tendency to focus on the limitations, what Sarah Dolinar and Adrienne Marie Brown was bringing up. Fear of what we can't control, the things we don't have, the things we wish turned out the way we wanted them to. Instead, a shift to focus on all that has been harvested, all that has purposely grown. Setting aside time to celebrate what's fruitful in life changes that narrative. It opens up our hearts and minds to ground ourselves in gratefulness. Counting blessings helps us give a sense of balance and clarity to all the resources we have. And it focuses on joy, a joy that counters the voices of fear whenever change visits. Both of these holidays are at their point in the year for a reason. They mark change, time and seasons, with spiritual reflection. They're both very different, but they both prepare spirits for changing of the season to come. It leaves me to wonder, what do we, as Unitarian Universalists, have that helps us prepare for change? What tools do we have to adapt to the future? While Unitarian Universalists may not have our own holiday to mark this fall transition, we do have tools of connection and resilience. While not necessarily in our principles, a core theological framework for the Unitarian Universalist faith, named by James Luther Adams and other famous UUs, is our belief that the truth continues to be revealed. Theologians might call it a belief that, quote, revelation is not sealed, end quote. It means that within the DNA of our denomination, there is an openness to learn more about truth, an understanding that there's always more to learn, more truths about life and the universe to be discovered. That means we're always learning. This makes our faith a space ready to adapt to the new truths that come with change. As I mentioned in the sermon last week, we are a living tradition. One that changed because new truths about our world appeared, and we adapted. We adapted to keep our values intact in an ever-changing world. By understanding that there is more to be discovered, Unitarian Universalists more easily approach the world with humility and openness, ready for the changes to come. Also, our Unitarian Universalist seventh principle, the principle of our interconnectedness, grounds us in the importance of connection and relationship in the face of transition and change. Understanding our undeniable interdependence means we know that nothing we ever do alone. Everything that affects one person pulls on the threads of circumstance and our lived connections, reminding us we are not alone. By cultivating and grounding ourselves in relationships and connections that sustain us, we can be better prepared to face any of the changes that come our way. Our first principle, 2, The inherent worth and dignity of every person also reminds us that no matter what changes lie ahead, no matter how we change or what we've done or what will happen, nothing can ever change our inherent and undeniable worth. We are worthy just as we are right now. Worthy of life, worthy of love, connection, mercy, and prosperity. Reclaiming and harvesting that strong sense of our own inherent worthiness and the worthiness of others can keep us centered whenever change comes knocking on our doors. Finally, our third principle specifically says the acceptance and encouragement of each other to spiritual growth. Unitarian Universalists believe that we are meant to grow. We're meant to change. Looking towards that growth can help people know that whatever change comes, it can be an opportunity to embrace a growth of our spirit, of ourselves, that our life has been waiting for. There are even some theologies within and outside of Unitarian Universalists that see the divine as change itself, the process of becoming. For those who understand change itself as something holy and meaningful, change becomes easier to embrace as a possible evolution and growth of your own life. These are only some of the ways I see our Unitarian Universalism as preparing our spirits and selves for change. I'm sure you can think of other ways. Maybe even memories of times when this community or when your own beliefs helped you face changes. I share this with you not only because of the seasons or the time of year, but because I have a sneaking suspicion that the changes to our society, our culture, and the world around us won't stop anytime soon. I've seen you all. I've seen that we've adapted time and time again through closures, through new habits, through new routines, through new information over the last 2 and more years. We have changed so much for so long that it can deplete our sense of resources to really be ready to change some more. I say this reflecting on myself and others. I've noticed in the last few weeks, at least for me, I've been more stubborn, been more frustrated, I've been more easily quick to anger in the last few weeks and months than I've been in the last 2 years. I'm not sure of all the reasons why. I'm sure there's more, but I can feel myself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, not wanting to face yet another change. I just want things to stay the same. I wish that the seasons would turn predictably and easily and controllably and manageably. But that's not life. This wild and finite and infinite life, filled with trillions and billions of molecules, was never easy or manageable. Octavia Butler says from her novel, Parable of the Sower, all you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change. Well, if that's the only lasting truth, then one of the purposes of religious life and spiritual community, like this space, is to help us build our resources to embrace it. Whatever spiritual and religious homes want to thrive past these past years and live into our future, we will have to be prepared to wildly change and adapt. Adapt to surviving climate crises, adapt to a changing economy, adapt to new ways of living with communicable diseases, adapt to a world that's losing all interest in, spirituality altogether. We're going to need each other to remind ourselves why spiritual homes like this are so important and are far more relevant than our capitalist consumer economy makes them out to be. We will need to remember the ways that places like this, spaces for Unitarian Universalism, help us ground ourselves in our values and prepare us for change. Tie us to one another in a web of mutual interdependence and care so we can help each other for whatever comes next. Here we are. Summer turns to fall. Change, unpredictably and predictably, happens yet again for another year. And I am ever grateful to have a community like this that helps us ground ourselves in thanksgiving, in forgiveness, in accountability, in connectedness, in learning, in worthiness and growth, so that we help each other, ready to take on any change that comes next.
Thank you, Emily, and Kevin, and Carolyn, for helping me manage the changes of the last year and a half. I'm very grateful. And to everyone behind the scenes who make this happen. Now is the time in our service when we take an offering. We know it is the gifts of all of us that help support our ability to thrive and gather online. Links and instructions will be posted in the chat. You can mail us a check or donate to the PayPal giving page. Please give as generously as you can. Our offering will now be gratefully received.
A single note passes out of the ashes, a flickering ember begins. It's the courage to turn when the pages have burned and your story now seems at an end. Seasons stay and seasons go, sending your memories adrift. It's the beautiful longing, embrace the unknown, that's the mystery of your gift. And the echoes of your melody will always live in these walls. And the lessons that you give to me, before you can fly, you must fall. It's the beautiful longing, embrace the unknown, that's the mystery of your gift. There's a voice in the shadow calling for more. There's a rhythm that beats from within, lending your voice to the warmth of your song. There's a strength to the choir of one, pure as the voice that sees the place where the weight of your past may now live. It's the beautiful longing, embrace the unknown, that's the mystery of your gift. And the echoes of your melody will always live in these walls. And the lesson that you give Before you can fly, you must fall. So sing higher and higher, 1,000 new voices ring through. If you sing out of the fire, the courage you read comes from you. There's a voice in the shadow calling for more. There's a sky that seems beat from within. Lading your voice to the warmth of your song, there's a strength in the choir of one. And the echoes of your melody will always live in these walls. And the lessons that you give to me, before you can fly, you must fall. Oh, it's a beautiful longing. Embrace the unknown. That's the mystery of your gift. It's the beautiful longing. Embrace the unknown. That's the mystery of your gift.
You would usually hear thunderous applause if we were live in person. Thank you, Kevin, so much for your beautiful voice. And now it's time for you all to sing along with us. We have one last closing hymn, found in our teal hymnal usually, 1017, Building a New Way. Mike will post the lyrics to Building a New Way in the chat. Please sing along from home, but keep yourselves muted so you can hear Kevin's beautiful voice again.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and grief and jealousy. We are working to be free. Peace and freedom at our need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love and it's the need. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without peace, this world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
I invite you to join me in extinguishing our chalice. Please repeat after me if you know the words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. For these we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we continue moving towards the future, everything will change. May we continue to adapt, living into our deepest values, so that our community, our beacon of liberal religion, will outlast all of the generations to come. May it be so, and amen. Hey everyone! Hi, 1 second, I need to make sure the speaker is, yeah. You can unmute yourselves now and chat. This is coffee hour.
Yay. Thank you, Emily. Lovely service.
Yes.
Yeah, how was it? Did the mic not cut out this time? It seemed like
It was
the audio
good.
was okay.
It
Perfect.
was good.
Great
Yeah.
service and technologically sound.
Yes, technologically sound is good here. And Sarah just, I know Sarah wants to Sarah.
Sorry, Suzanne, Emily, I hate change, hate change. So the sermon really resonated with me.
I also hate change very much.
Hate it.
It's no secret. Everybody hates
true.
change.
Everybody,
Everybody hates change.
Everybody hates change.
Not really. There are a lot of people that have very great adaptability and don't mind change. There are people, yeah, very little, Chris, I know.
And I don't even know if they're speaking the truth when they say that.